Well, hello and welcome to AWN TableTalk. My name is Crystal Niehoff, owner and commander here at Army Wife Network. And happy Military Spouse Day. Yay. We are so grateful and appreciative of the sacrifices that military spouses make so that our military service members can serve.
Hi, I'm Wendy Baird Packard, and we are very excited that you could join us at the table today.
Hello, I'm Tracy Hargis. Give us a shout out and tell us where you're watching from today.
Pull up a chair, grab a cup of coffee, and let's share how to do military life together. We can't talk today. I just stumbled over military life together. Sorry. Woo.
Well, this month we are celebrating moms with a candid and even hopefully humorous, that's kind of our MO, chat about the stages and changes of motherhood on today's AWN Table Talk. So, got questions for us about parenting, motherhood, parenting your military child? Begin posting them now in the comments section and we'll get to them momentarily. First, I want to give a shout out to the Breastfeeding Shop. This AWN Table Talk is sponsored by the Breastfeeding Shop, and they make it easy and convenient to obtain a free breast pump through your insurance company, including TRICARE. And the Breastfeeding Shop offers a large selection of breast pumps for moms to choose from and ships the maximum allowable accessories with every pump. Customer satisfaction is their #1 priority. Visit their website at thebreastfeedingshop.com or call 866-255-6779 to learn more today.
Tracy and Crystal, let's take a few moments to have some fun and give our viewers a chance to get to know us better by answering a few questions from our mug. Yay!
Got a mug. It's going to be a pick or choose. It could be anything. Marriage, hair color. Who wants to take bets on who has their actual hair color
on this panel? Oh gosh, I
So
don't know.
let's go. We'll start with Tracy. You want to pull a question?
Okay.
You've been mugged.
You've been mugged.
You knew I was going to have to get that.
I know.
one.
This is an easy one. This is an easy one. What is your favorite food?
Oh, that is an easy one.
My favorite food is Italian.
Ooh,
Italian food.
Pasta.
Yeah.
Ooh, yum. Is there a specific dish?
No, anything Italian is pretty good. But nothing with fish in it.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Good
so
to know.
true, so true.
Good to know.
What about you? Wendy?
So mine changes. I don't know that I have one, but I'll get one that I sit on for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so currently I'm kind of obsessed with dates. People are like, really, dates? But they're really good and they're really sweet and they're natural and they're, I don't know, that's kind of what I like right now because I don't eat bread and stuff. It used to be French toast. That was my all-time favorite, but
Yeah.
I've gone to dates.
Yum.
What's yours, Crystal?
Probably Mexican food.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Good stuff.
That's like my second favorite.
Mexican. Not anything Mexican. I just love Mexican food, and so there's a specific restaurant in my hometown that every time I go back to visit, I have to go there, and it's so delicious. So anybody that's from Chanute, Kansas, probably knows the one that I'm talking about.
Oh, wow.
So anyway,
well. We do
Wendy,
another mug? Oh,
You
gosh.
want to do another one?
Yep.
Okay,
Do another
Wendy.
All right.
You're going to get mugged
Mugged.
now.
Wait, I have like 7 here. Okay, there we go. Just one. We can only handle one. Oh, there it is. What's your original hair color?
Well, and there's like a gob in here, so that you were meant to answer that question.
Well, so mine, if I was to let it go natural, would be completely gray. I would be gray. So I was blondish brown when I was growing up, but it would be gray. And we're not doing that. Not doing gray. No. I'm in my 50s. I don't need to show it here. So, yeah.
How about you?
Mine's like a dirty dishwater blonde color with some gray in it.
Yeah.
We have a running theme, I'm pretty sure.
So,
I don't know.
yeah.
I never dyed my hair my entire life until a few years ago when I started getting gray.
Gray.
And so yeah, and I have to keep dyeing it because I get this gray streak. I look like if my hair was darker, I'd look like a skunk. So I have to keep it. And I even have this spray for filler in between hair colors.
Yes.
I just up there spraying the top of my head. I need some I don't know, what is the word? Something to fill in, make it
Like
look
touch
cuter.
up, like a
being from
oh.
a product of the 80s and big hair. My hair is not as big
That's
as
right.
it used to be.
Yeah.
So
No, I want to be one of those ladies. I want to be one of those ladies that can wear gray really well, like really distinguished and beautiful. Like there's
I
like an
know.
Estee Lauder model or somebody that she's older and she wears it beautifully. And I just know I wouldn't rock it like that. I wish I could, but
Yeah.
pretty sure.
well,
it
that's
wouldn't
kind of the color now is, I've seen
silver.
models dyeing their hair
Right.
like a silvery
It is.
gray.
Mm-hmm.
they're
And
in
your little
there.
streak might be really popular right
Right.
now.
That's true. Maybe I
I'm telling you.
I can picture it now. And get proof here. Proof
Yeah.
here with the gray streak. It could be a trend. You could bring it back, Crystal. You can bring it back. I have faith in you.
Okay, so I'll draw,
All right.
and then we'll get to our topic.
Wait, now we have to
This is
say-
too fun. You
Now
got,
you've been mugged. Yeah. There you go. Yes.
ooh, this is good on a day like today,
Oh, gosh.
Military Spouse Appreciation Day.
Mhm.
Favorite military moment?
Ooh, there's a lot.
I think it's not a specific as much. No, I take that back. There is one specific. It was early on, and as I was learning photography too, I was at I can't think of what it was called, a casing of the colors, but they were also, the battalion was being deactivated. And so I was there, and they had veterans that were there, some, in wheelchairs, dating way back, that had served with this particular battalion. And they were there for the ceremony. And so I'd seen the news there, and they were talking to the current active duty soldiers and stuff. And I went over to these veterans and I said, "Can I take your picture?" And so I got to talk to them, and me just being over there with my professional looking camera, not knowing that here I was brand new and had no idea what I was doing. And so the news came over and featured them. And so that blessed me that they were recognized for their prior service. So that's probably my favorite military moment. So.
Yeah, I don't think I have one like that. No, that's good. That's really cool. Yeah, that's really cool. You have
How
one?
about
There's so many, I'm sure.
I know, as I look through the years, because it's been so long, I never really got to see my husband graduate from like airborne school or basic training or anything, but I enjoyed when I went to my son's basic training, and he actually sang the anthem.
Wow.
Yeah, he got to sing at his graduation, but the graduation was just awesome. It was down at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, but I don't know. That was a fun military moment for me.
That's cool.
And it was my son
Neat.
graduating from basic. And my husband even got to do the when you have your dinner and a chaplain usually speaks. So that was really neat.
Oh, and he
my
got to do
husband
the
got to
speaking?
do the speaking.
Oh,
yeah.
that's cool.
Oh, neat.
So
Wow.
I don't know. That was just a really good time to see all of his drill sergeants all sitting around him, because we sat by all the drill sergeants and they were really like getting on him while he was at the table. But that was just fun. It was so military minded and everything. So it was good.
And kind of cool to
It's
see
fun.
how your family had kind of come full circle, I'm
Yes.
sure. Just to see
Yes.
it kind of, yeah,
Right.
how it's, what's the word? Kind of move down into your family.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
How about you?
Gosh, I can't, there's been so many great ones. There really is. But I think the moments, there's a couple that would really stand out. And it would be when I saw my husband for the first time after basic. And I was really proud. And my son was super excited. And my husband cried. And that was really a cool moment. And then when he came home from deployment, kind of the similar, that excitement that,
Right.
it's, you feel so patriotic and so loved and so honored and so respected, and just in those moments that you kind of got through those tough times too. Those were kind of tough times, and
Right.
and you made it through. And I really liked those coming home moments. But then I think back to like both when you talk about both of those things, I went to a couple ceremonies for the division, And at Fort Carson, they had a full cav unit that had horses, and they'd run across the field with the flag. And that was really cool too, when they did changing of command and things like that. And so I think just overall, I really like those really special, hardcore military.
Right.
It just brings so much pride to what we're doing, where we are, things like that.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Right. I still love retreat.
Yes, yeah, things
and
like that.
Standing outside during retreat and just taking that moment to pause and be thankful that we have this opportunity to be part of this. So, and for the service members who are sacrificing for our freedoms.
Yeah.
So.
Those ceremonies are so etched in time. I mean, there's ceremonies like that, retreat, revelry, those things have been going on for hundreds of years or through the Army. And that's really cool that we still hold those traditions. So I like those moments.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, let's hop into our topic for the day. Today, we're talking about the stages and changes of motherhood. So, like I said, begin posting your questions now. We'll be getting to them shortly. And if you have any questions over any stage of motherhood, or if something pops up when we're kind of chatting and you want us to expand on that, please don't hesitate to post a question and we will get to that. So let's start with kind of the pre-mom days. I mean, whether it's going back to childhood or right before you conceived, what was your view of motherhood before you had kids?
Me, I wanted to have kids, but I babysat a lot, so I didn't want to have kids immediately after I got married. And I didn't. I waited like 5 years before I had any children. So after we were married, but it was something I desired and wanted to have as children. I did.
Never entered my head. never. No, it wasn't anything that I was like planning or thinking or just no. I couldn't. I don't. I think I hear people say, like you just said, that you were planning to have kids and it was a thought process. It wasn't for me. It just wasn't. No. That's all I can say on that. It just wasn't. I don't know. How about you?
For me, always wanted kids. Always wanted a big family. I wanted biological children, but I also knew that I was going to adopt one day. And I knew I wanted to adopt at least 2, and I ended up adopting 3, and I ended up with my large family and 2 biological daughters. And so, that was very much something that was on my heart from the time I was little bitty.
Wow. That's amazing to me. I like I said, I can't wrap my head around it. I think it's really cool that you guys had that drive. I guess, I don't know. Maybe I was just a kid. I don't know. It took me a long time to grow up and think that I just didn't, that I could take care of another human. I didn't feel like I really could trust myself for that. So I was like, wow,
My youngest daughter, she doesn't want kids. She wants to be the crazy cat lady.
Right.
That's her goal, is to be the crazy cat lady.
Right.
So
well, there you go. Yeah, exactly.
So how about as we kind of discussed that as a teen. We discuss that, but what about you and your husband? When did you decide to start your family? How did that progress?
Go ahead, James.
Well, we had talked about it a lot, but the training that he was going through at that time, I don't think it was the best time to get pregnant, but I did. So we had to accept it anyway. So, but we had always talked about it. I mean, it's something we always wanted. So, but it just happened. And so, we might have waited even longer than 5 years. Who knows? But it was a good time. So,
so the question was, did we think about it? Equally as no. Equally as, did you ever think about having kids? And it wasn't a thought process that we said, we should start doing this now, or we should wait. It just kind of happened. Just sort of happened. Yeah.
Well, for me, my husband and I, he inherited, when he married me, a pre-made family. So for him, it was very much a decision, and he realized that when we were dating, that he had to make that decision because he wasn't just marrying me, he was taking on a family. But for me, it was kind of, the first one was not planned.
Yeah, there you go.
Subsequently, they were, obviously, when we adopted 3. That's very planned.
Yeah.
It's a very long process.
That'd be a great show. Talk
Yeah.
about that process, because I bet we could teach, or we can't. You can tell us a lot about
They
that.
call it a paper pregnancy for a reason.
Yeah, interesting.
It's
Yeah,
very
interesting.
much- yeah. So that's kind of how our family came about.
Mhm.
So
Cool.
Well, on our May 25th Table Talk, we'll be chatting with 2 new moms, Chelsea and Bree. So we'll cover kind of pregnancy and new motherhood more in depth on May 25th. But what was pregnancy like for you, or your first days as a new mom, or paper pregnancy? Or
Mine was good. I had good experience. My little boy was wonderful. I breastfed and everything, and he was like a very scheduled little boy, and I don't know, it was a good experience for me. I don't remember it being terrible. I do remember one time he was crying so much, and I remember hearing, just put him down and then just walk away before you go crazy. And for some reason, I do remember doing that. I just set him down, left him alone, and then came back to him.
How was your pregnancy?
But my pregnancy was wonderful. I mean, I had a C-section. He was breech, but I didn't mind that. I had a C-section, and then my other 2 after that, I had C-sections. So, because I was familiar with it. He was breech, so I had to have a C-section.
how was recovery after a C-section?
All right, I guess. I mean, it's hard, but
Just
you forget about those things.
Did it
Just
even
like
hurt?
when you have a baby and it
Shows up in
hurts,
running
but
a marathon
afterwards-
right after.
No, I wasn't.
Wow.
With your
We have
husband,
totally
the
different
barbarian.
stories. Yeah.
That's
No,
referring
I-
back to a previous show.
So I don't know. It was
Love him, but that's a joke with us.
A long running, yeah, that'll stay forever. That one. Yeah.
If anybody missed it on the teen table talk,
Mhm.
the kiddos kind of had some fun comments about their dads. So,
It's worth going back and watching.
yeah. How about you?
Yeah.
So, yeah, totally different experience. Like I said, not incredibly planned. And I was 37, 38. So I was a little older to have my first pregnancy.
Wow.
And so that I truly believe, not having a pregnancy prior to that, I don't have anything to judge it on, but I watch people that are younger and it seems like it goes a little easier.
Mhm.
So I had morning sickness for about 7 months, and it was in the afternoon. So I kind of stayed queasy for a long time. And then because I was an older mom, there was a little bit of testing and genetic testing and to make sure that there wasn't going to be anything, which we kind of just stopped it at a certain point. We said, no more testing because it doesn't matter. This is our child and that's what we're going to do and that's fine. And then I had a C-section and he had to go to the NICU and we both stayed in the hospital for about a week. So recovery for me, again, so much to share. When I came home, I sat improperly, which disturbed all the internal stitches in my C-section.
Really?
So it tore stitches. And
Oh,
so,
I didn't realize you could do that.
yeah. And so that made it a little longer for me. But I truly believe that, again, my son's 15. This was a long time ago. And so it's better now, I'm sure. And so it just took me a longer time to recover from it. And we joke about it in my family now, but I kind of blocked out the first 2 years because I just remember my son was colicky and I remember he cried a lot and that's all I remember. And I saw an old video recently and he's laughing and playing and I'm like, when did he do that? When was that? And my husband's like, he did it all the time. So I think I had the baby blues. I think I struggled with that and nobody really caught that long ago. And so it was a little bit more of a struggle, but I will tell you, my husband was amazing with our son. And our son taught me a lot of things through those years to be a little more patient and put the baby down and walk away. And yeah, it was a great learning and growing experience for sure, but it's a little more challenging. But I liked it. It wasn't like I didn't like it. I did like it. It was just more of a struggle.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how about you? Those that are watching this, what was pregnancy and your early motherhood days like for you? Was it more practically perfect like Tracy.
She's perfect. My second one was not perfect. I can talk about that one.
Was it more of a challenge like Wendy? I kind of relate more to Wendy because mine was difficult. I had almost my entire pregnancy on both my biological kids were I had morning sickness, terrible, in and out of the hospital. The deliveries were a challenge, and and I did end up having C-sections, and the paper pregnancies were just as emotional.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
You know,
Yeah.
with
Oh my
adoption,
gosh.
people don't realize with adoption you go through the emotional roller coaster, and you bond with that child even before
Right.
they're legally yours, and so it's a challenge. So we'd love to hear from you. What was your pregnancy like or in early days? So how did you handle colic? I mean, I think that is something that a lot of new moms struggle with. Both mine had colic. I had one that cried a lot. She had ear infections that we struggled with. So how do you handle that and stay sane? So
Put the baby down and walk away.
Right.
Put him in the crib and walk
somewhere
away.
safe. Yeah, more safe.
Yeah, that's good.
Or
Yeah.
find someone who can watch them.
Right.
You know,
And our
find a
son,
way for self-care.
yes, our son, you could time it. It was like, oh, it's 5 to 4. Oh, 4 o'clock. There he goes. You know, it was really timed. So my husband would step in, or his mother, when his mother stayed with us, she did this thing called roll out the baby, and she would roll him. And that helped move all the gas out of his stomach. And I was like, wow, that looks a little rough. And she's rolling him across the bed, you know. And she's like, I did this with my kids. And she has 4 kids. And she's rolling out the baby. And I was like, and it worked. It worked for him. And it's still funny. We still laugh about roll out the baby. But it worked. Yeah.
Sharita says that with her first kid, she felt like she was landing a 747 in a blizzard.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. That's funny. That is funny.
And Amber said her first 2 were easy pregnancies. Her second 2 she was so sick. So hey, Amber, what was the gender, just out of curiosity, on your first 2 and your second 2? Were they, male, female? Because both of mine were female, and I was so sick with them. But my daughter, who had a boy, she had some morning sickness, but it wasn't. I don't know if that's an old wife. It's probably an old wives' tale. But anyway, just curiosity. Well, how many children do you have, and how did becoming a parent affect your marriage?
I had three boys, and
He was perfect.
no, stop.
Sorry.
I had 3 boys. The second one was a bit challenging, just because he didn't sleep a lot. I don't even think he still sleeps a lot.
Isn't that funny how they just kind of
Yes.
develop that? My son never napped, and he
And,
still does it.
Right. A little ADHD kid, but we dealt with them. But I think with parenting and stuff, it wasn't, as long as you and your husband are on the same page about parenting and everything, I think it works out pretty well. But it's when those disagreements happen that it doesn't work out so well. So, usually me and him were pretty much in agreement in a lot of things. He wasn't real good with babies, but I was. And so, yeah, he wasn't a real big baby fan. He wasn't like the, carrying around the baby all the time. I mean, he would, but but he was better when they got older and they were able to talk and interact a lot. So, so I think I answered that question.
Yeah.
Right.
And we joke about that. I'm a lot like her husband, and my husband is a lot like Tracy, because I wasn't great with the baby stuff. And when he started to talk, that helped us a great deal. My husband was great. There's more pictures with my husband having the baby backpack on than me.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, there's more pictures with the baby attached to my husband than
That's
it was
good.
with
That's
me.
good.
So,
Yeah.
what was the question? I know.
How did having children impact your marriage?
Yeah. So, because we only had one, it was a big transition. Like I said, it was sort of not really planned. We had been married just over a year, And this was before the Army. So we were struggling a little bit in civilian life, and it was not great in our first year. We hadn't really learned to communicate yet. And then we were trying to communicate with a person that didn't communicate. And then we were trying to navigate our parenting styles. And there were so many other issues like, money troubles or work or things like that. And so our first year was rough to the point where our child started to exhibit behaviors that were stress related. And when I went to the pediatrician and said, what's going on? And he looked at me and said, I don't know what's going on. And we had to really look internally at our family. And that's when we learned to communicate better. And we learned to not scream at each other. We learned to not yell or fight in front of him. We learned to wait till he was in bed and then have a discussion. And so we learned a lot of communication through our child or because of our child. So, which made it a lot stronger. But that first year was a little tough for us.
It's amazing how children change you.
Mm-hmm.
They really do. My children, each one contributed in a way to making me a better person.
Yeah.
And even in the struggles, I think the struggle, each child there's usually something, a struggle. Like I have one that's really strong-willed, just like me. And so that was a struggle. And so she changed me, to help me pick and choose the battles, what was really worth battling over.
Yep.
And eyeliner too dark. Okay. Staying out too late. That's the one,
Got it.
that type of thing. And so the other one is too passive. So I think each child has changed me and made me better. And then as they get older, and changing with them. And it seems like discipline, it's like what works for one kid doesn't work for the other.
I bet
I'm totally.
Can you
into
relate?
That. Yes.
And
I can relate to that.
I bet. Yeah.
And then what worked the first time with the same child, the next time won't. Especially,
gosh.
When you're in the 2s and 3s where they're very strong-willed anyway and gaining independence. And then the teen years. I mean, is there really any difference
Between
2 and 3-year-olds and teenagers? Same thing, just older kids.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, well, as your children started school then, how did you decide what school activities they're in? Was there any limits on their involvement? How did that look?
I sometimes tend to think that sometimes we keep our kids way busy, like they're constantly going and doing something every day after school where I think it's good to have activities, don't get me wrong, but it's just keeping their lives so busy that they're not able to just be kids sometimes, just to play out on the playground every day after school or something. But that's how I feel. I think it's good to get them in sports or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For us, it was important because he was an only child. And so we wanted to be out and social and learn to interact. And so we have always done a sport.
Mm-hmm.
It was soccer since he was probably 4. And that was, practice once or twice a week. And then we'd go to a game on Saturdays. And then as he got older, kind of the rule for us is he has to be, and he's in high school now, but we want to keep him, especially with changing and moving. This worked really well for us because he had to be in one club and one sport. And it doesn't, and so this year he was in band. Well, he's been in band for a long time, but he counted that as his club and his sport. So we kind of fudged on that a little bit. I'm in band and it is a sport because you have to do marching practice, and it is a club because there's people, but then he's in navigators and Pacific Club. Sorry, I said the wrong thing. Sorry. Yes, I do know what you did. But so it's always been one club and one sport, and then, let him have his downtime too. But that's been important for us because he's an only child and he needs to know how to interact with other people and have other kids around. Mm-hmm. And then we were always the house the kids came to. So his little friends would always come to our house too. So we always had an extra kid somewhere.
That's neat. Yeah, for us, with my 2 youngest, I have one that he likes to be very active. And so sometimes I have to, make him slow down. Mm. And then the other one, she'll come home, Mom, I've been peopling all day. Yeah. I just want to go in my room. And so she'll go in her room and she has a piano keyboard in there and she's teaching herself to play the piano. And so that's her way of unwinding. So I'll hear her in there just going away. So I kind of let them decide, but at the same time, I guide them. Mm-hmm. If I feel that they're getting too stressed out or
Yeah.
overworked or too active,
Too much going on.
pull them
Yeah.
back. But if, like with Erica, sometimes I have to kind of like go
Mhm.
out. You need to go. You need to be
Yeah.
involved.
And that's how Brock can be too. If we don't do the one sport and
Right.
one club, then he wouldn't go out that much. And it's kind of a weird thing with him. Being a little busy keeps him really on his schoolwork.
Mhm.
When he's not busy, his grades seem to go a little
He gets
south.
lazy.
Yes. It's that leisure time becomes
Too leisure.
yes,
All the time.
yes. Oh, yeah, that's his focus is the leisure time.
Exactly.
But when he's busy, a little busy, then that kind of keeps the schoolwork. It's just a routine. I got class, I got to do
Right.
schoolwork, so I can do my sports, so I can,
Yeah.
so it seems to balance him
Right.
that way.
So do you have rules? Like, are there set family rules in your house, or is it kind of, how does that look? Rules and chores and that type of thing.
Well, yeah, we have chores.
Mm-hmm.
We have chores, and they need to do them every day. And they get in trouble, or they don't get their allowance if they don't do the chores. Now, some people aren't big on allowance with chores. I understand that, but no, they have chores, definitely. Dishes, cleaning up after supper, and keeping their rooms cleaned and all that. Helping me cleaning a bathroom,
Right.
Whatever.
And you know what I've learned about chores that I didn't really realize until I had a child was you're teaching them how to live on their own.
Yes.
So teaching them how to run the washing machine.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a chore, but
Right.
he's learning to run the washing machine. And so we've started with Brock because he's a little older. He every once in a while makes dinner. So here's the dinner, create. And of course we're standing there like, watch out and don't burn yourself or whatever. But yeah, those chores kind of teach them the life stuff that they need to know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we have chores just around the corner from here because we're in my house right now. There's clipboards, so they have their clipboard with their chores on it, and the rules that you do your chores after you get home from school. You get a breather when you get home from school, and then you got to do your homework, and then you do your chores, and then you can go out and play
Do your
or
stuff.
go upstairs and not people anymore.
Yeah.
So what about you, or that's watching this video? What does chores look like in your house if you have kids? Do you have rules? Do either of you have like a written family rules that you have posted somewhere, or is it kind of just something you've trained with them over time?
Yeah, for us, it's just an understanding. There's just, we know that we're respectful. We know. And with Brock, we were talking about chores with him because we're just a small family. We always talk about you're just part of this team. And so if one of the team members asks you to do something, then you do it. Just like if he asked me to do something, I do it for him. So we're just kind of this team. But there's definitely rules about respectfulness. And for us, there's no electronics in his room. He has a radio, but he has no computer. He's not allowed to take his phone in his room. And that came of, he would take his phone in his room and we would put him to bed, and then he would sneak it out and play video games. And so at one point when I caught him, I said, I will never, ever, as long as you live under my roof, allow you to have your telephone in your room. And when you say stuff like that, you got to stick to it. So he's not allowed to have his cell phone in his room. He can have it anywhere else, and it charges in another room. So we have some rules like that have kind of developed, but.
Cool. So we all have teens currently, so we'll kind of briefly brush over some teen questions. How about, when did you decide that your teens were ready to date or begin driving?
Neither right now. But you have a grown son, so you had to make that decision.
We
already.
did. And I remember when he went out on a little date first. I think he was like, he might have been 16 or 17. I'm not sure. We were in Louisiana, and there was another daughter of a chaplain that we knew. And we let them go out. We knew where they were going. He drove, I remember.
Oh, gosh.
After they had, this was soon after he had his license, I think, too.
Gosh.
But I don't know. I think personally, it has a lot to do with whether you trust your child.
Sure.
It's the way you've brought them up and the way you've taught them and whether or not you could trust him. Like my second child, I don't know if I'd ever let him date.
I'd never let him date or drive.
I mean, today is my middle son. It's his 14th birthday.
Oh, wow.
Oh, neat.
And
Happy
my
birthday.
Had a busy week.
I know.
Her anniversary was
Yes.
how many years?
26 years.
26 years, birthdays, all
And-
sorts of big weeks.
Yes. And so today he turned 14, and last night my husband's like, man, in 2 years you'll be driving. And I said, I don't know about that. Maybe we let our first kid do that, but I don't know about this one. So,
Yeah,
I
the
don't know,
first
I think
child's kind of the guinea pig,
Mhm.
like
yes.
you figure out.
But he's
how
just
to-
different. That child is different
Oh,
than my
true.
second one. And I can see him looking at something while he's driving and not paying attention to
So-
his driving.
So I have to tell you this story because that's funny. So I have two older sisters, and they were very responsible people. And they both got their driver's license. My mother fostered that. They both went off to college with cars. I mean, everything was like that. And it came to me, and I can see her looking at me just like you're looking at your child. And I did not drive until I was, I think, 18, and I had to sneak out and get my driverder's license because I think it was the same. I did.
Yes, because at 18 you could get it without your driver's
Yes, and
ed all.
my girlfriend drove me, and I told my grandma, oh, it's awful. Sorry, Grandma. I
Sorry.
told her I had my driver's license, and my girlfriend, we took her car and we went and got my driver's license. But I think my mother looked at me exactly the same way, like, oh, dear God, no, I'm not putting her behind the wheel. She'll look at things,
Yes.
and
Not
I
pay
still
attention,
have that
yeah.
tendency today.
Yes. So
So it's a fair concern. I'll just say that.
I think it
fair.
just depends on
Thank
your
you,
child.
Grandma.
Yeah, right. God
Yeah.
rest your soul. But it was a rambler. It was great. Stayed away. And
Life saved.
yeah. Yeah, that's funny. So I haven't had to think about, well, we will think about driving. I'll start driving this year. And I do trust him to drive.
Mhm.
And actually the thing, and the ladies both know this, I put a question out recently. When do you let him drive with others? When do you let them get in a car with another teenager? And that was really, really tough because I trust him. I don't know if I trust everyone else. And then there's that fear in the back of my head of situations he might be put in and how would he handle them?
Right.
You know, what if somebody was driving erratically? What would he do? Would he know what to do? You know, that kind of thing. So that was a challenge for me to kind of decide when he's allowed to drive with other people.
Yeah.
Hey, let's put that question out to our audience then.
Good
So when
question.
do you think is a good time
Yes.
to let your teenager learn to drive and to drive with other teenagers in the car with them? So
Mhm.
as we kind of close out today, comment and let us know what you think.
Mhm.
So, and with that, that is it for today. We've kind of gone a little bit over, but we've had so much fun. I hope you have too. Thank you for watching and for your comments.
So we hope you enjoyed this video as much as we enjoyed putting it out to you. We'd love if you would like this and share this with your friends and comment below. We put a lot of questions in, so we really want to get your feedback. Tell us how we did. We would love to hear from you.
Mark your calendars for our next AWN Table Talk on Friday, May 25th at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central. We'll specifically talk about new mom matters as we continue our celebration of moms during the month of May.
Bree and Chelsea will be joining us at the table, and Bree has a 7-month-old, I think. Is Bree's little one?
Yeah,
Six-
it might be
she's
9
walking,
months or
yeah.
something.
So-
10, yeah.
And Chelsea has brand new baby, like 3
Brand
weeks.
new.
Yeah.
Brand new baby.
Yes.
So they'll be great to talk to. They'll be joining us at the table, and we'll chat about the challenges and joys of new motherhood.
Got a mom question for us? We would love to hear from you. Comment below or email us at info@armywifenetwork.com, and we will work to answer your question on our next AWN Table Talk.
In the meantime, be sure to tune in each Monday night from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern for Army Wife Talk Radio. Listen in via blogtalkradio.com or through our free downloadable AWN app or with the podcast catcher of your choice. And thank you to our AWN Table Talk sponsor for today, the Breastfeeding Shop. Be sure to visit their website at thebreastfeedingshop.com. I also posted their information in the comments section, so be sure to look for that. The Breastfeeding Shop has all your breastfeeding supply needs.
With so many ways to be informed and stay connected, we really are your interactive empowerment for Army Wives by Army Wives. Thanks for watching.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
This piece of hair was